Hey, everybody out there in Cryptid Land. First thing I want to ask you is like and subscribe. And if you got a story and want to get a hold of us at the Cryptid Quest Podcast at gmail.com. Tonight, we got a really cool guy coming on with us, Joe Campbell. He's a paranormal investigator. He's got all kinds of stories about some really cool equipment that he uses that half of it I haven't even heard of, but I'm digging it. And we talk a little bit about Bigfoot, but mainly it's about the paranormal tonight. So join us tonight on the
Cryptid Quest Podcast.
So everybody, we have Joe Campbell joining us tonight from the Newark Paranormal Society. And he's a paranormal investigator. And so, Joe, tell us about some of your experiences out there. What's some of the places you like to go investigating? Or tell us about your society, too, if you would.
Yeah, I've been on over 100 investigations, I would imagine. It's been, I've been to Franklin Castle in Cleveland, Ohio, the Hinsdale House in New York, the Gill House in Galion, Ohio. I've done Fairfield County Infirmary out here in Lancaster, Ohio. I've been to Madison Seminary up there near Lake Erie. And I've been to quite a few places. It's home investigations. Just it's a good time.
So, what's your favorite place to go for an investigation? Do you frequent places a lot, or some of them you do just once, and some you do more than once, or do you just have some that you do, a lot?
No, it's I've done places that I've been going to quite a few times. I mean, like the Gill House, I think I've investigated for close to 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's been a very, that was like my very first investigation a long time ago. And I kind of fell in love with the place. So it you never know what you get out of that place.
Yeah.
And who you're talking to. So the longer I investigated the place, I struck up a relationship with a Jimmy Gill. Jimmy Gill was the child that lived there at the time. Of course, he grew up to be an old man, and he ended up dying many years back. But he's there as a child because when I talk to him, he talks to me as a child.
Oh, wow. So when you say talk, how are you guys conversating? I guess what I'm asking.
He would it's not only talking, it's the actions that happen at the time. If I say his name, the whole atmosphere will change. Stuff starts happening. You can just feel the intensity around you at the time.
Okay.
So you're just oh, what's going on? But he's there. And over my digital voice recorder, because we have digital voice recorders we run, and I'll ask him, so what's your name? And he'll, in a kid's voice, you hear Jimmy. And, or Joe's here, stuff like that. It's,
would say that you're here? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, man. It's pretty satisfying.
I would imagine. I mean, You're getting a lot more action than a lot of Bigfooters do. At least it sounds like you're getting action every time you go out.
Yeah, I talked to a medium the other night, and she said that I don't know anything about like your aura or anything like that or whatever. And she told me your chakra's at like 705. You're like way up there. You can channel stuff and stuff like that. And it kind of makes sense because usually if I have a digital voice recorder in my hand and I ask questions, I usually get a response from something.
Now, does everybody else have the kind of percentage of success? That'd be a good way to put it.
From what I see, a lot of people do not. I don't know if it's because of like laziness or they just don't know how to do it or don't care to do it because they're just happy they're in a haunted location. I'm not really sure. But like my partner, he could walk into a room and absolutely get nothing, but I could walk in behind him and I get a full-blown conversation.
And a lot of that, I don't know, my own theory on that is I think people, well, I guess the word I hear a lot is sensitive. Some people are sensitive, and they're more, and they kind of act as a window between the two worlds, and the spirits sense that, and they try to use you to communicate in this world. Do you kind of get that sense?
You know, yeah, absolutely, man. It's kind of one of those things like, you know, there's like a bridge, right? It's like they pick and choose who they want to communicate with, and I think it's a trust issue too. You know, if I could walk in there and ask a question, what's your name, and I get an answer, and someone could be in there an hour before me and get absolutely nothing, and I could walk out in 15 minutes and say, well, I got his name and this and this and that and this, and they're like, I didn't get none of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think it has a lot to do with what kind of person you are, if you're trustworthy, or they're really attracted to you. One of the two for some reason.
I got you. So, and I know I've heard of like things you go into houses and sometimes invite things to come back with you, either known or unknown to yourself. Has that ever happened to you or anybody that's with you?
Yeah. I've been followed home by a male from the Gill house. His name is Jimmy Gill. I know who he is.
And is that the little boy you were talking about? Well, he's an old man, but a little boy when he comes through. Okay.
Right. And he has followed me home, and he has been on investigations with me.
Oh, wow.
So when I do a EVP session with my recorder, if I ask, what's your name? And he'll say his name. Yeah. I haven't heard from him in a long while, but he might still be with me at some point.
Okay. Well, yeah, could be. So, so how did you know he followed you home? Did he start talking to you at your house, or?
No, it was over the recorder.
Okay.
I knew who he was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was over the recorder because we were at the place, the weekend before. Then we had a home investigation, and I got him over my digital voice recorder.
Okay. Because I was
he was there.
I was like, is he like scratching into you or putting them blood on the wall? Hey, Jimmy's here. But no.
And you know what? It's funny because you don't notice he's here. I mean, he's just not strong enough to show that he's here. Now, when he was at the other place, when he was at the Gill house, He was much stronger.
Okay. And maybe because that's home base for him, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Absolutely, man.
Okay.
Right.
That's pretty cool. So,
But
go ahead.
when we did Franklin Castle many years back, which is the most haunted place in Ohio.
Okay.
A lot of people think that the Mansfield prison is or whatever. Franklin Castle, hands down, is probably the most haunted place that I've ever witnessed or even been to. Another one of my investigators was playing around chasing something. He got followed home and he could not shake it.
Oh no. Did it harm him in any way, or was it just messing with him?
It was messing with him, and I want to say it had a lot to do with some sort of emotional kind of thing.
Okay.
Where it wasn't making him sick or anything like that. It was just it was there.
Yeah, maybe like depression or something out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he couldn't shake it, and he got rid of it finally by a medium that actually got rid of it for him. Oh. And he had no desire to investigate anymore.
I think that would kind of deter me from wanting to. If I had one follow me home, I mean, and if the thing is, you got to stay grounded, man. You can't be chasing stuff. You can't be provoking things. If you're provoking something, it's like me provoking you for a fight. Yeah.
I ain't doing that.
Yeah, no.
I'm not doing that. Not at all. And that's what you're doing when you go into these places, when you provoke things and try to challenge them. You're asking for a fight, and you're going to lose. I mean, that's how it is. Yeah.
You're playing on their turf, and they got home advantage. So
you're right.
What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you out on an investigation?
Oh.
Or to somebody else, it don't matter. Because I know you said you don't get scared that often because you're used to it.
Yeah, I'm desensitized from this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like really strange things that happen. I mean, there hasn't been an instance whatsoever where something like really scary's gotten happened. Like, nobody's got thrown up against a wall or got put up to a ceiling or something like that, or got pushed down or whatever. Nothing like that. It's but strange things, like my partner, he got grabbed, and I seen a white mist go past me into the other room. Apparently, whatever it was aiming for him, and he got snatched up. Oh. Of course, I'm going to laugh about that.
Yeah.
But, something grabbed his shirt and tried to pull him off his chair.
Holy cow. So, being out there in the field and doing this, I know you do a lot of the EVP and use electronics and probably thermometers of some type and stuff. But do you often see apparitions that you could tell if they're human, or is it mostly do they show up as mist, or when it's visual?
Yeah, I've seen I've seen a mist maybe twice during my investigations. It's like a mist, kind of like a white shadow almost, kind of. I've seen dark shadows at Franklin Castle. It's it was just like people walking around a living room.
Huh.
But it was dark. I mean, black. Just black shadows walking in the middle of the living room.
That's kind of nuts.
I was like, what is going on here? But as for years back when I started doing this, we were at a place of course they tore down now, but the Bell Nursing Home, and the lady had a red hoodie on, and we were waiting to go down to the basement, and we were about to go down there, and she's like, "Oh, I forgot something. I'll be back." And she walked away, and we were standing there talking, and turned around and seen her walk right past us and walk into the basement. Red hoodie, black hair. I mean, we just followed her down in the basement. And by the time we got down to the basement, it was gone.
And that was somebody that was with you on the investigation?
That was the caretaker.
Oh, the caretaker of the place.
The caretaker, yeah. The caretaker was like, "I'll be back," because she was going to take us a tour of the basement. So we thought she walked past us and went down into the basement. So we followed her downstairs. And needless to say, it wasn't her, because she followed like maybe a minute afterwards. And, "Oh, I thought you were going to wait on me." And we thought it was her. And
Holy
we
cow.
told her. And she's like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "You see my doppelganger."
A doppelganger ghost. So,
Yeah.
had she experienced that before?
Yeah, she has.
Really?
Yeah, she did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first for me. I don't know. I've heard of the doppelganger thing. I've heard of it, and that just freaks the hell out of me. But a doppelganger, well, but it looked solid?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like
Wow.
it just walked right past me and went down in the basement.
Oh, wow.
That's probably the best I've seen of a full figure like apparition. Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow.
It just evaporated when we walked down to the basement. We're like, "Where'd she go?" Well, she was never there.
Wow. So,
It was kind of crazy.
that is kind of crazy. And do you ever get any kind of weird readings with like your temperature gauges that you use? So what would you call what would you a thermometer, or do
Well,
you have a name for it?
Yeah, we got REM pods.
REM pod.
REM pods, digital voice recorders. We try to keep it simple. We don't want to go too far into technology, if you want to say, to try to ruin the experience.
Yeah.
You don't want to embellish your findings. So we try to, it's like a lot of people say, "Keep it simple, stupid." Yeah, we keep it simple.
Keep it simple. There you go.
Yeah, we keep it simple. Like I have an Ovulus, which has a library of 5,000 words.
Oh, wow.
If you ask questions, the spirit can communicate through this box, which has worked out really well in certain cases. It has to be the right time, the right place.
They call that a spirit box? I think I've
No,
heard.
it's
No,
that's
okay.
it's an Ovulus.
Okay.
It's an Ovulus. It's a device. It's a box. It has all kind of features you can actually go on and pick from to use. That piece of equipment is very expensive, but we have the SLS camera, which is a structured light censored camera, where you can see stick figures. I don't know if you've ever seen like the stick figures that people carry around the SLS camera, and they pick up stick figures just like standing there like human form.
Huh. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so are you saying like it picks up a spirit and then puts a stick figure there? Is that
Yeah.
really?
But the thing is, you have to really debunk it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to debunk what you see. So what you do is you go up and try to make communication with this thing that you're seeing over your camera. So I could walk up and say, hey, could you touch my hand? If it reaches out and touches your hand, or you ask it to do something, it'll like raise your hand and it'll raise your hand, different stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
got you.
So, it's like, it's a pretty good chance that something may be there that's paranormal. There's a lot of times it'll map like chairs, like somebody sitting in it or something like that, which is just, it's nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, communication with that device, you have to actually go up and make contact.
Okay.
So we have we have like a spirit box. It's an ink box, which looks like the Ghostbusters car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which it has like the spirit box guts inside of it, whatever. But you can actually make it vibrate, or like it'll not vibrate, but echo what comes out of the box. So, and it's not as loud as a spirit box. So you can sit there and ask questions. And a lot of times, which I have investigated down in West Virginia and different places like that, which, they had a battlefield where I was down there at this bed and breakfast, or I think that's what it was. And I was in the living room. We had the car on, and they were talking about death and doctors and battlefields, and it was pretty interesting.
That is pretty interesting. So, and when we were talking before, I remember you saying something about was some Indian mounds out there.
Yeah.
You did an investigation or something around them.
Yeah, I back in 2018, I got a message on Facebook saying, hey, could you go out and get data from the mounds for L.A. Marzulli? I know who L.A. Marzulli is.
I do too.
I was like, sure. I didn't think it was actually true.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those things like, I was like, I don't believe this. But sure enough, I went out and did I got some data from the mounds. Actually, my millimeter at the time, which is a temperature gauge, I on an 86 degree day, actually got it to go down to freezing.
Wow. Like all the way down to 32?
Yeah, I think it was 20 some degrees.
Holy cow.
So I recorded this and I sent that to them, and I got a message the next day saying, we're flying out tomorrow. We'll meet you at Cherry Valley Lodge tomorrow morning at 9:00. I didn't believe it, but I showed up, and sure enough, Fritz Zimmerman. I don't know if you know who Fritz Zimmerman is.
The name
He's an
sounds
author.
familiar.
He also works with L.A. Marzulli.
Okay, well, I know him. I mean, don't know him. I've heard of him.
So Fritz came out and said, you Joe Campbell? I was like, yeah. And he was like, L.A. will be out in a minute. I'm Fritz. And sure enough, L.A. Marzulli walking down the hallway. I was like, are you kidding me right now? This can't get any better, dude. Because it was like, that's probably, I mean, I met a lot of people that have been on the TV shows and stuff like that. I'm not starstruck one bit, but at that point in time, I was pretty much starstruck.
Yeah, pretty big name.
It was pretty, yeah. And he came up and he was like, he goes, I seen your data you got from the mounds. He said, are you ready to document this? I was like, sure. I said, you want me to sign something or whatever? I didn't know he was going to be in one of his episodes of Alden Trail of the Nephilim.
That's cool.
And he said, no, he's like, we're going to go out and film tomorrow morning at 9:00 in the morning. He's like, you up for it? I was like, film? He's like, yeah, you're going to be in my documentary. I was like, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
So for 4 days, we went all around Ohio and filmed.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So and it was about In Search of Nephilim?
Yeah, there's a lot of theories, conspiracy theories, different things like that, saying like giants lived in our, like 10-foot giants roamed the earth many years back, and fallen angels, and that's what he was going for.
Okay.
He was trying to see what kind of evidence we could get, he could get with certain people.
Okay.
And see what kind of data he could get from a different perspective other than what he was doing.
I understand. Maybe different types of equipment and stuff. Yeah,
right. Exactly. So me being a paranormal investigator, I brought out the millimeter. I got dowsing rods out there. I had the SLS camera, which we actually caught a 10-foot being in the woods. It was a stick figure. It had to be 10 feet tall. Woo. And he about freaked out when he seen that.
Oh, wow.
It stood over a girl that was maybe 5'2".
Yeah.
And this thing had to be 9-10 feet tall.
Holy cow. So have you heard of you talk about conspiracy theories, but have you heard the thought that Bigfoot might be Nephilim? Have you ever heard that?
That's a good possibility. Absolutely.
So when you said 10-foot tall,
yeah. I mean, hey, it's a good possibility. I mean, he gets into all that kind of stuff. The cryptid he gets into.
Yeah.
He dives into that a lot.
Yeah.
And well, you know that for sure.
Yeah.
He dives into that, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. Just like the Patterson Gimlin film, one of the greatest. When you see that film, it just makes your just heart sink. Like, holy cow, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then I forget which guy it was that said he was in a suit at the time.
Oh yeah. There's no way.
Right. Of course, he's been dead for a while now, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But watching that film is just amazing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Because it was at a time where how do you really film that? It was back in 68, 69, right?
Yeah, I think it was 68, if I'm not mistaken.
68. Yeah, you're right. 68, and some guy filming Bigfoot walking across the woods.
Yeah, there was so many.
That's insane.
It is insane. And, he was at the last 24 feet of his film because he'd been filming all weekend. And when it first came out, nobody noticed the thing had boobs. It's like, if you're going to fake something, why are you going to make it extra hard to fake by putting a female Sasquatch out there? I don't know. That's just the way I think about it.
Well, they tried to recreate it with that guy. I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video, but I watched. It was I forget what it was called, but the same guy tried to say he was in the suit, and they get this terrible suit, and try to reenact the whole deal again. I'm sure not at the same place, but it was It was terrible.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I mean
It was terrible. The suit was awful.
Yeah.
The more and more I keep seeing it, I'm like, man, this. I mean, that thing was ginormous.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, the legs on that creature was just incredible.
Yeah. So if
Same with the arms are longer than anything.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Every encounter that I get reports on, they always the arms. They always talk about the arms being so long. And actually, Tom Cantrell, I just interviewed him. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's written quite a few Bigfoot books. Pretty big name in the Bigfoot world. He came up with a formula that, and I'm not a mathematician, but he came up with a formula to where you can look at a figure in a video, and he takes different measurements. I'm not even going to try and say it because I'll totally screw it up. But he takes different measurements off the body, does a mathematical equation, and each primate has its own number. Like I think humans were 72 or 76. Gorillas were 120 was their number. Chimpanzees were 105, and Bigfoot were 86. And he's like, you do this, and it didn't matter what size they were because everything was in proportion. And I thought that was amazing how he came up with that. But it seems to stand true. So,
yeah, it's because the wingspan on the Patterson Gimlin film, you look at the wingspan of that creature, that the wingspan's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because his hands are down by his knees.
I know.
Or her knees.
Yeah, yeah.
It was incredible. I'm like, a lot of people say it's fake, and, it's fake. They did this. So it's like, why would you? This is 1968. When I don't know when the film got put out, but I'm sure when that film got put out, and I'm sure I was probably a little child at the time because I was born in 69. So, can you imagine the what people were saying at the time?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd been scared to put something like that out, just because of what people.
You just seeing that, and it was like, people are like, "What is that?"
Yeah. Oh, I remember when I saw it for the first time, and I was just mesmerized by it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still remember I was a little kid when I first saw it. So
yeah, and when I was a little kid, I used to go to a what was it, a dog club or a beagle club or something out in Logan, Ohio. And there was nothing but woods around the whole place, and all the old timers, of course, they've been gone for years and years and years now, but they would say Bigfoot used to run around that area at the time. And I was like, really? There's Bigfoot out here? And it's like, yeah, there's Bigfoot out here. Of course, I never seen him or anything like that, but you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. I never thought they was in the woods of Missouri until I heard a freaking gorilla one night.
Well, hey, you know what? I hear it's all over the United States. It's all over Canada. They're all over everywhere.
I think they've been reported on pretty much every continent besides Antarctica and the North Pole. Hawaii hasn't had any, but all the way down in South America, United States, Russia. I mean, you name it. Heck, even in England. There's been reports, and that blows my mind because they don't have a whole lot of forests over there. But
I agree.
Still reports, and man, I just in my mind it's like not everybody can be lying, and I'm sure
It's insane, man. It's just the whole. I believe there's something there about that whole thing, about the Bigfoot thing. I really do. So when people are like, well, if you believe that, when you die, how come they don't find the body? It's like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. But I 100% believe.
I absolutely have no answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if other animals come and eat it, or I don't know.
And maybe they bury them. I mean, nobody's got one in their garage, you know. We don't know what they do. So, and is there anything else out there odd, paranormal, besides ghosts that you've encountered, or is it just mainly you, the ghost guy?
Yeah, it's just it's mostly ghosts. You know, to investigate happenings from the paranormal, which is, you know, it's you're investigating ghosts. I mean, you got a difference between investigators. You got a difference between ghost hunters. I know a lot of people like to say they're a ghost hunter. A ghost hunter is a person that goes to public ghost hunts to play around and have a good time, expecting to see a ghost.
Okay.
And an investigator is somebody that investigates and is serious about what they do,
and try to take data and you know, and journal the experience,
and try to get as much as you can out of the situation. And you have to debunk what you find too.
Yeah.
So if you don't debunk what you find, you might as well just scrap it, because it's not worth the time. But that's why I like to investigate on my own sometimes. It's like I did have 8 people on my team at one time, like a long time ago. Now it's just down to me and my partner.
Okay. Well, sometimes that makes it easier.
No, it's a lot easier. Yeah. And we get in a car and we just go anywhere. And so it's a good time, man.
Yeah. So do you do it for the thrill, or for the fun, or do you hoping maybe something huge is going to happen someday?
Well, you know what? It's like at first it was like when I first started, I wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah.
So I did it. And when I first got my first EVP, where something was talking back to me over my recorder, I was like in heaven, man. It was just like, wow, this is crazy. And I fell in love with it. It's more like seeing historical places and try to talk to the past and see what you can get. It's not about the thrill anymore. At first it is, but now it's to the point where you want to look back in history. Like you want to time travel back in that time to try to figure out who that person is and why are they still there. Okay. So you got a lot of questions, just like you got in the squatching field. You got a lot of questions. So it's we may never find out.
Yeah.
We may never find out. So I still have a great time going. The thrill's not gone for me. I love going to these places. I love investigating. But more and less, I want to know who still roams those halls and why are they still there, or are we calling these people from another dimension?
Oh. Have you ever encountered one that made you suspect on whether or not they're being honest? when talking to you?
Well, you can never that's the same thing as me saying you got to stay grounded. You can never believe that that like it could say like, well, I'm this person. They could be lying to you. Like if it's a child or it's a grandma or something like that, it could be something totally different.
Yeah. Well, that's the part. That's the part that would scare me.
Well, it's like, as long as you get the hard evidence.
The hard evidence is who they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you could get the hard evidence about that, like when I used to go to the Gill House all the time and go in these places and I get Jimmy's name and he talks to me, I know what his voice sounds like. And I've been going there for years.
So when it comes over the recorder, the voice sounds different? I mean,
it sounds like a child, or it sounds like a whisper.
You did say it sounded like a child.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like an electronic thing or an actual voice is coming out.
Yeah.
I think that freaked me out.
Right. So if you take a digital voice recorder and you start talking over it, it's not all the time. There's a lot of times where you'll get whispers.
So, So when you use it, because I've not done a whole lot of ghost hunting, so this is, or investigating. I'm sorry, used the proper term. So so when you're asking the questions and you have your device, it records, then you listen to it, or
yeah.
Okay, is that how it goes? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You could, because I use Olympus recorders, and you sit in a room by yourself for 10, 15 minutes, and you ask questions, then you go back and listen.
What's something like that cost? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, $30-some.
That's it?
You can get it on Amazon.
Really? I might have to pick one of them up. It sounds interesting and fun.
It's all how you ask questions. I mean, as long as you're by yourself, because a lot of times when I do these sessions, I'm by myself.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody around me. I'm good. I want this as genuine as possible. I'm not, I don't want somebody in the sitting next to me going, like that. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Because those recorders, they pick up anything.
Okay.
Like little bumps. It sounds like somebody crashed something into a wall.
Oh, okay. So they okay.
Very sensitive.
Yeah, kind of like this stupid
So,
bike.
I've gotten a lot of really good EVPs, man.
What's some of your or one of your favorites or a couple of your favorites that kind of you're like, wow, what the heck?
Well, it's like, we were at the Gill House one night, and we were walking on the second floor, and we were doing an EVP session, and all of a sudden we hear an old woman say, "Who's here?" It felt like I broke into somebody's house.
So, did that come on over the recorder?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Plain as day.
And was she mad? Did it sound mad?
Yeah. Like surprised or scared or something. Yeah. She said, "Who's here?"
You're giving me goosebumps, dude.
It's always satisfying to get stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like names. My favorite's names. It's, you go in there and you ask question, "Hey, what's your name?" And if you can get a full name, man, that's golden right there.
And then you can go back, kind of check on it too, like history of the house stuff, kind of like
Yeah.
your friend Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we did a woman's house in Newark, Ohio 2 years ago, maybe. And we got a woman's name over our recorder. Her name was Kathy Stowe. So we looked her up. We was like, we don't know who that is. So we looked it up on the census. And she was there in that area in 1870, dude.
Oh, wow.
In that area.
Wow.
At that time.
That's cool.
1870. And those houses weren't even there then. That was probably just all land.
Huh. Now, so that's another thing that my mind, because like some places end up with activity and stuff, and they're not old. Or it's like a trailer that just got moved, because I've heard of trailer ghosts, you know? It's like, so did you have a theory on how they end up in places?
Yeah, it could be the land. The land could be also corrupted also.
Okay.
So what was there before? I mean, maybe it was an old house, an old building. Who really knows? And they just built on top of that. A lot of these places will build places on top of graveyards. It's old cemeteries.
Okay.
All they did was take out the stone and left the people laying in the ground.
Okay. Now it makes a little more sense to me. Yeah. There's a movie called Ghost, and I think it's kind of similar, where this ghost just stands in this one spot for years and years and years.
Is that with that guy that is dead now? Patrick Swayze?
No, not that movie, Ghost.
Oh, okay.
This one, it's kind of a cheesy look ghost, because the ghost just has a sheet over its head, but it stands there and it's quiet and it's constantly like watching and trying to talk to people. It's kind of a creepy, sad movie, but this ghost is like trapped on this piece of land, and it's like stuff. Yeah. Like at one point there's Indians all around them, and then another point there's like urban development, and then somebody builds, like you said, somebody builds a house there. Then the ghost is inside the house, and it spends the entire time trying to like get a message across to the living world. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of those things. It's like everybody's like, "Oh, do you believe in God?" I said, "Of course I do." Do you believe you always go to heaven? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're in the field like I am, and when you can channel something or communicate with something on the other side, it's like, are they in limbo? Are they answering you from a different realm? I don't know.
Yeah. That's another one that just escapes me, because I'm Catholic. I believe in heaven and hell. God and the devil. But how and why are they still around? Because somebody I interviewed about a month ago died, and they brought him back to life. And when he came back, he had some bad accident, but when they brought him back, he said for a long time after that, he could see and actually talk to spirits. Like he said, he would be driving past a car accident on the side of the road, then all of a sudden somebody's sitting in the seat next to him. He said he finally, kind of like you said, he said he got numb to it after a while, and he would just say, "Hey, you're gone. It's time for you to go," and then they'd go. So I don't know. Maybe sometimes they have unfinished business, or I don't know. But he said it eventually faded. Now it doesn't really happen anymore, which, man, I just don't know. I'd want to be seeing dead people.
Well, that would be a crazy concept, right? It's like it'd be like one of those things where you're just sitting in your car or sitting at home, and then something sits right next to you, and you could see it.
Yeah.
That'd be quite amazing, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately, I've never witnessed anything like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's times when I was like in a location, and I'd be sitting like on a couch or something like that, and I feel the other side just collapse, like somebody sat down. But of course, you can't see it.
Yeah.
But you just look over like, what? You know.
He said he had an experience like it, that was another one of his experiences. He said like the first time it ever happened to him, he felt like somebody sat on his bed, and it was he saw his grandma, and his grandma had died that night, and he didn't know that. He just thought his grandma had come over, but he, and I'm like, oh, that's. Ugh. I mean, it's great to see your grandma one last time, but dang.
Yeah, it's, of course, when you've been doing this, as long as I have, or other investigators, it's kind of one of those things like it's oblivious to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After a while, it's just, you're desensitized.
Yeah. I can understand that.
You're not the first time the thrill of walking down a dark hallway with no lights on, and all you have is a little flashlight to set up something all the way across a dark hallway that looks like it's ran down, and then you're thinking, so is something gonna jump out at me?
Yeah.
And of course it never happens. Then many years later, it's kind of like you just walk down the hallway.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've seen one ghost. In my life. And it wasn't a scary situation, but it was the middle of the day and I was with people. So it wasn't a bad situation, but I don't think I'd want to see one if I was in a dark house. I don't know. I don't know that I could be desensitized to that. That just seems like a scary thing.
I mean, you do it enough. When you investigate enough, I mean, you do. I mean, you don't. It doesn't bother you It doesn't bother me anymore to walk around a haunted sanitarium or a haunted jail or a haunted prison or something, or a lunatic hospital. It doesn't do anything. That's all gone.
Yeah.
There's until I get snatched up and get thrown up against a wall or something, it's all gone.
Yeah.
But the whole point is trying to get that evidence, hoping you get to see something.
Yeah. Now, do you ever? I know a lot of the places you talked about investigating. Have you ever done anything like a sanitarium or like someplace that you would be likely to run into like really bad stuff?
Well, Fairfield County Infirmary out here by where I live at, it used to hold crazy people, old people, Civil War people. It's been around for ever and ever. It has a morgue in the basement.
Ooh.
Right. So they still have the death bath, or they still have the bathtubs up against the wall where they used to put the bodies in to drain their blood. And it would flow out to the stream.
Oh, and man.
They would stick the bodies in the freezer along with the food.
What?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be eating no food out of that fridge.
Well, you didn't have a choice back in the day.
I guess not.
I mean, I'm sure back in the day they didn't have those kind of things they got now. It's like you can't stick a dead person in there with a piece of meat. You never know what you're going to eat, right?
Oh man.
Well, they only did that like during the wintertime because the ground was too hard
Oh, to bury.
to dig up.
Yeah.
And when they did that during the wintertime, they put these people in the freezers. So when it got warmer out to where they could dig, that's when they buried them.
Okay. All right. Well,
It had crazy people in there, different stuff like that. Like they say they're going to hurt you and stuff like that. And
did they say that on your recorder when you go into those places?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I was told a few times I'm going to kill you, different stuff like that.
And they never bothered you?
No, they don't. It's
man.
But the thing is, it's like you're just sitting in this room and you get this over and you hear it, but nothing happens.
Yeah. Okay.
It's almost like, they're
maybe just trying getting you to leave. Try to leave you alone.
Exactly. They don't want you there. That's what it is. They don't want you there.
Yeah, I get it. Wow. Well, Joe, it has been a heck of a fun time talking to you tonight. Is there anything that you want to promote or say or talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, on Newark Paranormal Society, on TikTok, same as on X. Okay. I got an X.
Do you guys ever do live broadcasts, or you just post stuff on there?
Sometimes. A lot of times we don't get a lot. I got over 5,000 followers on Facebook.
Oh wow! Yeah.
But when it comes to the live thing, it's like it's in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes it a little more difficult.
It's in the middle of the night, so it's like people aren't expecting. I mean, you can let them know, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, I forgot."
Yeah. I got you.
But yeah, we're on Instagram. We're on there's another whatever it is. But yeah. YouTube, we're on YouTube. We got a channel on YouTube. Just different stuff we have on there. It's not like full documentaries or stuff because it's so hard to find somebody that can put all that stuff together.
I got you.
It has the knowledge of that. We really don't have the knowledge of that, but we know how to take videos and put evidence up of what we got.
Well, you need your own dirty like I got. That's my producer. He does all the good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree. If somebody could help you out,
yeah.
I mean,
I couldn't do it without dirty. Wow. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Joe, for coming on. It was a blast talking to you. And everybody out there in Cryptid Land,
keep it creepy.
Yeah, out in the woods where the shadows creep, I'm trying to find the legend that the people keep. Bigfoot's the name, got a story to tell. Footprints in the mud, can't you hear the bell? Whispers in the night, can you feel that chill? Bigfoot on the run, he's a legend, keep it real. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride. Like I'm on a quest, searching for the homie, you know he's the best. Got my camera ready, heightened senses on blast. Snap a shot of Sasquatch, legend unsurpassed. Eyes in the dark, you can't catch what you can't see. King of the woods, living wild and free. Bigfoot, yeah, he's the talk of the town. Creeping through the trees, never wearing a frown. Legend of the forest, he's got a big stride. As the trap beats thump, you know he's got pride.